Hello again, mathy people. Today I want to talk about grouping and regrouping. And I'm going to start with a context where we do this all the time without calling it that. And that is money. I have a bunch of dimes here and a bunch of pennies here. Now, I don't know how much is here, and I could count them up, but that's going to be a little bit tedious. What we often do when we think about money is we'll take these and we'll make piles of maybe 10, right? So we'll pile them up. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. There we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have you ever done this? And you just make all your piles of 10 that you can. And here, you know what? I'm going to cash this in. What's it going to create is $1. So 10 dimes made $1, right? And here I have something that's a lot smaller to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dimes. I could do the same thing with my pennies. Let's make a pile of 10 pennies somewhere. There's 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, if I want to, I can turn those 10 pennies into a dime, and now I have a 9th dime. So now I can count these. I could turn these pennies into a nickel, but let's stay with the base 10 ideas here. The ones, tens, and hundreds. I have $1.95. So I couldn't tell that really from the beginning, but now that I have regrouped, I can tell much more easily what I have. So let's take that out of the money context and back into numbers. I have some number of squares here, and I don't really know how many squares I have. What I do know is that I could group these. I could group them in groups of 5 squares. Whatever I seem to be able to find and grab reliably. There's a group of 5, and then another group of 5 with here's 2. I can group these up. I can regroup these. These were in miscellaneous groups that were sort of mishmash, piecemeal. But I can regroup them to be a standard, countable, easily countable group. So here I'm grouping them into 5s, but you might group them into 10s as well. There's a group of 10. And I can group these into 10s. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can make a group of 10. There's another group of 10. I've just merged them together into groups of 10. There's another group of 10. And I can regroup them, and suddenly I see that I have 3 groups of 10 and a group of 5. And rather than counting all of those out, I counted to 10 a few times, and I can see that I've regrouped them into 3 groups of 10 and 5, and I've got 30, coming from that idea of 3 tens. When we look at these number grids, this becomes even clearer that we have these groups of 100. We have 2 groups of 100. We have 3 groups of 10, and we have 4 groups of 1 each. 1 group of 1, 2 groups of 1, 3 groups of 1, and 4 groups of 1. So we would have 2 in the hundreds place. Now we're talking about place value. So in the hundreds place of our number, we're going to have 2, or 200. In the tens place of our number, we're going to have 3, which is going to represent 3 tens, or 30. And in the ones place of our number, we're going to have 4, which is going to represent 4 groups of 1. So we could group it as one big group of 234, but the way we write it is 2 groups of 100, 3 groups of 10, and 4 groups of 1. And this is what we mean by our place value number system. That our place value number system groups the items we have into ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, And what this allows is for us to have only 10 symbols, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, but still be able to write as big a number as we can possibly imagine. So in this last example here, let's look at a number that's in the thousands. I'm not going to put 1,000 blocks up here, but we can interpret it that this 4 in this 4,325, the 4 represents 4 groups of 1,000, or one group of 4,000. And we can think of it either way. That 4 either represents 4 groups of 1,000 or one group of 4,000. So it represents a grouping that we could interpret a couple of different ways. The 3 also represents a grouping, and it represents the grouping of 3 groups of 100. Or we could think of it as 300. Now in 4,325, if I've taken care of the 4,000 and the 300, what do I have left over that I haven't accounted for yet? Well, I have the 25. So here we've got 2 10s and 5 1s, or 20 and 5. So this is what we mean when we say that the number system is essentially grouping. That grouping and regrouping forms the basis of our place value number systems. This has been Math Teacher Barbie, and you've got this.